It's in big letters on here.
Well,
Stress the list.
Look at that list.
No.
You're talking with somebody and you don't really want to go away, but we're in business. You have to stick and move.
If you call me in, give me an hour before your shift, as long as it's an hour, my personal rule was I'm going, because there's nothing more important than me making money to follow my dream. I get up earlier to come here and it sets me up for my day. And I was like, wow, that's really wild you're saying that. That's what I dreamed of. And now I'm having people say that to me. For once, I didn't cry. I almost did like 3 times.
I'm tearing up here.
This is actually exactly what I needed today, even though I was kind of like, wow, I'm really tired, I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, literally, I needed this for inspiration. I'm not gonna cry. And I'm really happy I'm here.
Let's do this.
Let's make it happen, brother.
All right,
All right, run it through it real quick. We have the
because
intro.
I gotta have something.
Gotcha.
Unless you want me to go off the cuff.
No.
You want me to go off the cuff tonight?
We can try it. Yeah, let's run it.
Let's go off the cuff.
All right.
Because that's, a lot of people, they have the teleprompts and all that, and they're told what to say. We just make it happen.
Yeah.
Welcome to, how many episodes is this now at the Castle?
Episode 14.
Episode 14. I know we kind of missed a couple, didn't we?
Yeah.
We missed a couple, I know, for a lot of reasons. I don't like to make excuses, but this was actually due to a lot of business stuff. Mustafa had a lot of stuff going on. He bought a house. He's got a lot of action going on with that. I'm running the jewelry store. So, your time is tight. We're always on a schedule.
Right.
When you have a business, you're on a schedule. You're on a mental clock. And now that you have the house, I'm sure you feel that mental clock a little bit more than you did like a year ago, right?
Yeah, every day.
Every day. You go, okay, I know it's going to take this long to do this. I'm going to do this. I got this. I got to do that. Next thing you know, you're in bed.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome way to live. So I apologize that we weren't here. But again, they can always reach us or ask questions throughout, even if we're not here. We'll always be here. We might be a little delayed, but I promise you, and I don't promise a lot, I promise you we'll be here. And if you notice in the background, I just put a brand new Castle cigar picture, nice picture. I made sure it was, Castle Cigars. That's our logo. If people don't know about Castle Cigars was built on royalty. I wanted to make sure people got treated like royalty here. Like it's your last day here. I want you to make sure you're smiling and you're happy and enjoy yourself when you come to the Castle. So the shield is for the royalty. And if you look, the castle is there. Then inside the castle is the cigar. And then we play a lot of games here. A lot of guys will play a lot of card games. And so we kind of shield it around there. My buddy Dan DeMarco, I'll throw a little pick out to him. He does all my marketing. He's quite, if you ever run across him for your marketing, phenomenal. He's the one who came up with this. And then, of course, he came up with Royal Smokes for Royal Folks. How did that hit the nail on the head? And at first I went, but I went, wow, that's really something.
Yeah.
So that's our new sign. So we'll be doing the podcast from here now.
Yep.
And
Dan knocks it out of the park 10 out of 10 times. I mean, he's the one who's brought me one of my customers who turned into a friend, who turned into my real estate agent, who helped me find this house in the first place. And now she's going to be my business partner when I buy more properties.
Amazing.
It's just the networking that you can do just off of this place alone. Like, I came in here 2 years ago now.
2 years ago.
And I sat down. Again, I was busy. I was reading a book. I was enjoying my time, right? Rick came over. He said, "No. What's going on, buddy? What are you doing?"
You're looking too studious for me here. Let's go.
Right, because I was just reading and I was learning, and I didn't want to actually put my foot out there and get a little wet and see what happened. But Rick, you just kind of pushed me out the door, and now I'm just ready to go. And that's what I appreciate.
Push you right through that door. You didn't know what was on the other side of that door.
No.
But you look back a year or two now, and anybody who's been in that particular situation, housing or businesses, and you look back, go, wow, you did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
And we had started this because I didn't know anything about podcasts and all this stuff, but Mustafa said I had a lot of experience. I said, oh, great. So now I can bring it out.
Yes.
I was told that all your experience and everything you've been through, you can't take it with you. You got to give it away. at no cost. Doesn't cost any money.
Right.
And that's the key.
Right. We're not selling a course.
No.
It's not, oh, give us $999. We'll teach you how to do this.
And you'll be a millionaire in a week. Right? Remember that?
I've seen so many of those. I've signed up for way too many courses that you don't even want to know about. I'm still recouping money from that. But, I mean, again, that's why I wanted to do this, is because, Rick, you are so inspirational just to everybody that meets you and talks to you for the first time. And you just give off that energy of, if it doesn't exist, I'm just going to make it happen. I don't care. If I want to do it, it's going to happen. There's nothing that's going to stop you. And I mean, let's get into that a little bit. But first, of course,
we got to light these up first.
That's it.
We did start this to talk about cigars also. I know that maybe if all you don't know me or whatever, but I do smoke the Punisher. I was out of it for about 2 weeks. I was a little miserable. And they go, Rick, you have 5,000 cigars in here. You could go and get any cigar you want. And I look at him and go, it's not going to happen. All right? It's not going to happen. I tested it. So for you out here, this is the Punisher. Okay? If you go and read a little tutorial on it, it kind of mirrors me.
Yes.
And it's amazing how we're married now. So
joined at the hip.
And then what are you smoking?
I'm smoking today. This is going to be the Rodeo Clown from Cigar Clowns. They're coming back for another episode. I love this brand so much. I mean, Joe, Murph, Ray, Danny, all those guys over there at Cigar Clowns, they're killing it. They are moving their product everywhere across the country. They make amazing sticks. I mean, just the other day I had the King of Clowns, and that was one of the best sticks I've had in probably 6 months. And it was just phenomenal, just every flavor that came out of that. Now this one, the Rodeo Clown, is going to be an Ecuadorian Sumatra wrapper, double binder, Nicaraguan filler, and it's a medium full. So a little bit more intense cigar, again, than when I started a year ago just smoking the lighter cigars, flavored cigars, is you're going to get a more full body experience. And there are a little bit of flavors in here, oak, cinnamon, coffee bean, and brown sugar to finish it off. So it's going to be a nice little mix here.
Yeah. You sound like you're an aficionado or something.
Yeah,
over there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now that I know what I need to look for, now it just feels better.
Yeah, and you learned that all here.
Exactly.
You learned it here. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I don't know all these notes, and I know pretty good.
Right.
But I'm still learning and everything. But hey, let's light these up because we got to get moving on. Ready? Here we go. Fire them up. I played a little hooky this morning.
Yeah.
I went over to the golf club on Balltown Road. My buddy Coach had an extra slot. He asked me last night, and I used to be a member up there. So I went there. The course is absolutely gorgeous. It was a gorgeous round this morning, and there's not too much time left for the season, so I got to get it in.
And right away, I noticed those oak and cinnamon notes and sweeter notes coming right in.
My palate's shot.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
I'm well aware.
Well, that's why I have you talk about it and you do, because it's it's not going to happen. So you're a very lucky man, Mustafa.
I get to try all these before they come out, and it's always great.
I mean, you love it.
So let's talk about how was your month. So running the jewelry store and running Castle Cigar back to back. Again, you're a maniac. You start the jewelry store at what, 9 a.m.?
I get about 9.
And you leave here at what, 2 a.m. every morning?
Yeah, somewhere around that area.
2 to 4 to 5.
No, I don't. I can't. 2:30. 3 o'clock. 3 is like that's the ultimate. But that's But I've groomed into it. We this month actually is going to be 5 years of Castle. September 28th. 5 years. Unbelievable what's transpired in 5 years. Went like this. But the cultivation, the business, the people, I opened this for, it's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure everybody had fun. And I needed a place to smoke a cigar.
Right.
Where I knew eventually it'd be awesome because we would just build it. You know the old saying, build it and they will come? Right?
Right.
But we really built this fast. And that was due to not only you, but everybody out there who gets cigars from us, the way I feel is everybody makes me better.
Right.
Everybody steps me forward. You know, and that's a lot of push.
Yeah.
So when it comes to 5, maybe 6 hours a night of sleep, that's all I need. Let's go. Let's make it happen. So the month was good. You know, we're going into the fall. We just had football last week. Tomorrow night's another Thursday night football. What I do for Thursday night football, you come in, buy a cigar. I do free pizza for Thursday nights for everybody.
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
So my buddy Marino, I get it from him.
Oh, Mario over there?
Mario, yeah,
Oh, love him.
he's the best. So I get, you know, I get a lot from other people too. Don't get me wrong. I do spread it around. So like this year, I'm going to do it with him. Next year, I'm going to do it with someone else. Same like I do with the snow plowing or anything at the other store.
Right.
Because there's so many people that have so many great talents, and I like to spread it around a little bit because you just do one. You know, I just spread it around year to year contract.
Right.
You know, best of my ability with that.
Right.
You know, let's say it's a fair shake for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that really does lead us into our first topic tonight. So we're going to talk about networking. How important is networking in business?
It's so huge. I can remember, but see, since COVID hit, what happened was, I'd go to like I would go to like mixers. I would go to outside events. I'd go to all these things, and you know, I remember one time I went and I forgot my business cards, right? And I went. I had one card, right? And I went, what am I gonna do with one card, right? So what I did, I took a pic of it on my phone, and I texted it to everybody. Then I got everybody's number. It was a mistake that was great. You know, because now I didn't have all these cards. I didn't lose them. You know, sometimes people just rip them up.
Yeah.
But
no, that's actually I like that.
you like that.
Yeah.
See, you learn something new all the
Take
time.
a picture of it. That way, you're always getting the contact information. You don't have to worry about them contacting you. You have their number.
It's all set. No papers. And then all of a sudden, you went to look for their card because you needed something.
Right.
Now you don't have it because, you know, it got mixed up somewhere. So networking is huge. And another reason why Castles came about was because of the networking.
Yes.
Absolutely no doubt about it. I'd go to all these shops. We'd have a great time. They needed a battery for the watch, a bracelet. There's someone was getting engaged. It was an anniversary, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is great. I can really help a lot more people. And then, so networking, you got to get out there. You know, you got to be seen. You got to be heard. I know today with social media, we don't talk as much.
Right.
But I'll keep going because you gotta get out there and let people know what you're doing, what you do.
Right.
Because you never know what's going to come after that.
Well, where are some places that people can go to do this networking, if not social media now? Because I know there's a lot on social media, but again, you get a lot of BS on there as well. So where do you go? Like, where can somebody go? I know, again, just for me, Castle Cigars has been an eye-opener because there's, I don't know how many business owners that you don't even know.
Yeah.
Like secret millionaires that just walk in here.
Yeah. You
They're
wouldn't
just
know
dressed in khakis and
Yep.
jeans, ripped jeans, tore-up shirt, and you're just like, oh, okay, you own that and that and that. Huh.
And then you
Yeah.
got all that from them.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So yeah, all right. So the best place to network is here at Castle Cigars. So let's just put it right there. No.
Shameless plug.
You know, I mean, I know that we're going to have someone else on tonight. We'll introduce her a little later, as soon as we get done. But what the market that she's in, I'm not going to say, but I think that where she is, that's a great marketing networking place too. You know, if it's set up right, where people can come in, sit down,
Right.
kind of mingle around a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, Facebook. You know, putting your advertisements on Facebook, that's where it all is.
Right.
I mean, it's not the old days when the Gazette was about that big and there were mailers and TV, radio, and now it's so expensive. You know, if you can get a good deal, take it. But let's face it, it's all about, you know, these phones are part of us.
Right. How do you feel about something like Albany Chambers?
The chambers, I think that I think they'll probably be okay, but you got to work it. you've got to work it. I went to a few of them, and if you just stand there with your back against the wall and not talk to every single person in there, every 200 people, it's no good. Okay, you got to walk up and let's face it, everybody's like, I don't want to talk to you, man. I don't know. I feel a little shy. No, you got it. I used to walk up to everybody. Hey, how you doing? Rick from Regency Jewelers. Rick from Regency Jewelers. And some people would say, okay, that's cool or whatever. And someone would say, oh, great, man. You know, I just broke my necklace. And then that person tells 100 people, hopefully. Right? So when if you're in the Schenectady Chamber, Illinois Chamber, any of those chambers, you got to talk to every single person in that room. Get around. Just don't stay. I remember the first one I kind of went to, and it's like, hey, how you doing? And I ended up talking to them for 20, 25 minutes, and it's only an hour and a half, whatever. So it was a growing period. I made some mistakes. You got to go to every single person in that room.
What's your starting line when you walk up to somebody?
How you doing? I'm Rick. Like, Rick, Regency Jewelers. How you doing tonight? Just put it right out there, who you are and what you do. Now,
how long do you, like you said, I mean, the first time you had that learning curve, you spent like 20, 25 minutes just having a conversation, which is, again, a normal thing that you would want to do.
Because
you don't want
to brush anybody off.
Right. But when do you kind of get that, like, what's the cutoff? Do you have a timer in your head? Do you have like a sentence?
You have to cut it off.
You cut it off.
You got to cut it off. You say, hey, look, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I'll see you at the next one. Here's my information or whatever. You need something, let me know. And then we'll take more time. You need a day with me, whatever. We'll make the time, or whatever the case may be.
All right.
So because in the mixers you have to get around, so you can't take it personal.
Yes.
Some people might take it personal. Oh, that guy, why he just shoved me off, and no, the mixers. Everybody knows. Everybody's there. Communicate. Get the cards out. Take a pic now.
Take a picture.
Take a picture. Done. Right.
Keep that one.
But that's it.
All right. Let's talk about pacing and burnout. How do you avoid overbooking yourself? You run two businesses. I mean, how can you possibly avoid saying, hey, Wednesday I have this obligation here, but also 20 minutes later I have this obligation here?
I call the person up and tell them, look, I'm running a little behind. Can I reschedule? Always contact them. Don't like put it off.
Okay.
That's why, remember the list?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in big letters on here.
Boy,
Stress the list.
Look at that list.
No.
I mean, you never made lists before, did you?
No.
Never. No. Okay. No. I'm sure. And I learned this from someone else, from actually two people, and I saw this one person always had a list every day of his business and personal, right? And they go, Rick, what's on your list today? Nothing. So what are you going to do today? I don't know, right? Have a plan.
Yes.
Especially when you're in business.
Right.
I don't care if you put on your list at home, you got to take out the garbage. Start somewhere.
Yes.
Make a list. I didn't want to make a list. I fought it tooth and nail. But my philosophy is I put it on a piece of paper. It's not in my brain anymore. It's on that paper. It just gave me more room to put stuff in. I didn't clog it up.
Right.
It's clogged up enough.
Yeah.
I didn't clog it up. I put it on paper. This way, I know, I already know what I have to do tomorrow. It's on my list.
Right.
Okay. I do, when I do my month, all my monthly things are on both places in my calendar. All my payables, when it's got to be paid, what's got to happen.
Right.
Any personal stuff is in my other book, what I have to do, where I have to go. So without that, you're kind of just out there.
Right.
But on a list, you make it happen.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, again, you taught me the kind of basics of a list is just start with, if you don't know what to put on your list when you start the day, make your bed. And then after that, the ideas just start flowing through. All right, well, got to do the laundry today. Got to do this today. Got to do this today. And then I have that business list of these are things I need to check off if I want to get this, if I want to get the next promotion, if I want to get the next deal, if I want to be able to work with this customer again. What do I need to do? Well, here's the list, and now it's a sub list, and then it builds into an ever-growing list. But slowly, when you actually see yourself physically checking it off, and that's why I love writing it down now instead of just putting it on my phone. It's just saying, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. Customer's happy, done. Okay, move on. Go to the next one.
All your follow-ups,
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
You know,
Now, I do use my phone for follow-up alarms. So, like, if I have
that's good.
3 or 4 different customers that I'm working with at a time, right, for Wave.MP, or I'm following up with an acting coach, or I'm following up with one of the auditions that I have, it's just like, okay, well, I followed up on Tuesday. Let me put a reminder Thursday, reminder Friday, done. It takes me 5 seconds.
Yep. I'm a real stickler on lists, and so I'll say to everybody else, where's your list? I don't have a list. Right? Like, well, you know what? Follow my lead, man. Just do your lists.
Yep.
Changed my life for sure.
Yes.
Because then all of a sudden I didn't forget.
Right. Right.
You know, customer calls you up and say, gee, I forgot about that. You know, because we get busy.
Yes.
You know, just takes 2 seconds to write it down, and you can always go back to it. But
Yes. Okay. Now, let's get into the last part of this. We have questions here from the audience. The first question, Rick is always so dapper. Where does he shop? Does he have a stylist? I mean, you have the nice new gray shirts on today.
well, that's due to the marketing.
Yeah.
Dan DeMarco. I had some gray ones made. I had the red ones made. We try to, because I started with the black. You know, you always have to remarket yourself. Like, you notice that.
Yes.
Okay. You'd be surprised what people really notice. All right. They might not say something.
Right.
But for me, like this, and I got the different shirts, and
Yeah. I mean, even when all your suits that you wear when you're at the jewelry store, I mean, where do you go?
well, I got a little secret on my suits.
Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
I'm still wearing the same ones I did 20 years ago, and they're still in style. You just have to keep them dry clean. You just can't throw them in the corner. And I bought a couple of new ones along the way.
Right.
But I just change it with your shirt. Get a tie.
Yep.
Looks great.
Yep.
You know.
Well, I'm going to give a big shout out to Pat the Tailor.
Absolutely, Pat's right over here down the street on Hamburg Street. You know, he just got a couple of blazers from him. So actually, yeah. So he would definitely be. You know, times have changed. I've been doing jewelry 36 years.
Yeah.
You know, and there used to be S&K and so many different places you can get suits in the mall, Macy's, and they but that's changed. Now you got to take them, get them tailored, or you got to wait 3 weeks, or you got to. So it became a hassle.
Right.
You know, I used to love to go and do that. So now I just go to Pat the Tailor,
Yep.
pick out a suit, does it right there, done.
Done.
Yeah.
And it's sad because that is probably somebody's passion out there, right? And they're just not starting the business because they're scared, or they don't know what to do, or they don't know where to go, or what's the next step for them.
Right.
And so, what would you recommend to somebody like that who says, "Well, I'm afraid to leave this position that I'm in right now because it's a decent position to start what I want to do"?
Make a plan. Start it part-time a little bit. Have to. If it's your passion and you're feeling it, you have to have a plan for it.
Right.
Okay. So it's like when I started with the cigar business, I was around it 5 or 7 years.
Right.
And then it finally hit me. And then this place took me 2 weeks to put together. All right. 2 weeks.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of you ripping up the everything in here.
Once I had things that I was committing myself to this because I love cigars so much and the cigar people
Right.
that are around it, that I knew that failure was impossible because I can come here anytime I want to have a cigar,
Right.
instead of going to these other places, which are fine, but this was internally me, so I let nothing get in my way.
Right.
And I'm sure any business owner, your family or your friends will go, he's never going to make it. He'll be out of business in no time. I love when people say that to me because I go that much harder, okay? Because I'm not going anywhere. The only way I'm going is if the good Lord takes me. And that's it. Other than that, we're going full speed ahead because it's inside you. We unleashed it.
Right.
And when you unleash something, it's wild.
Yes.
You contain it, but it's going. You know that. You, how long you know me? I'm out of my mind, right? But in
Yeah,
a good way,
yeah.
right?
That's a
You
good-
can,
yeah.
You contain it.
Right.
Focus.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want it, go do it. Don't listen to anybody. Once, because if that person or people give you that negativity, they got to go out of your life. You got to let them go. You got to, and I'm very strict on that.
Right.
Okay, you're either all in, or you're out. You just can't put your toe or knee in.
Right.
You got to go all in. So I'm an all-in guy,
Mm.
as you've seen throughout the years.
Yes, as you've taught me to be, all
Exactly.
throughout this.
All in.
Now we have two more questions here. Number two. This is from R on the Patreon. We'll keep the rest of the name out. I didn't know taxes had gotten that bad in New York for cigars as well. Is there a way around this crazy increase that they're doing? And this
No.
most likely came from the conversation I had with Joe Mastriani last time we were on.
Yeah.
Is we talked about the cigar tax and what we need to do and things we need to look at, as well as other, pieces that are really pulling this down. I mean, the original idea of the tobacco tax makes sense, right? This is how you ship it to Congress is, well, we need kids to stop smoking cigarettes. It's an addictive substance. It's terrible. Okay, that checks out. But why are we harming a fully grown adult, right, who makes their own decisions at 21 years old to say, no, you can't smoke a cigar. You can't come here. You can't, have conversations. You're not allowed to go out anymore.
Yeah, the tax is definitely unbelievable. I talked to a lot of people about it. Again, 5 years, 2 years in, they told me it was going to get lowered. 3 years, 4 years, now it's 5. All right. I talked to a couple people, and they said, you know what, Rick? It's a labor of love. So, to me, it's never. I hope that someone looks at this. Okay.
Right.
Because we are in a world of freedom. Okay.
Right.
And it's our choice. It's like when my parents smoked. It was their choice back then. They put the labels on there. It could cause cancer or whatever, okay?
Right.
They were grown adults. They knew what they were doing. But
Right.
all right. I don't see it going down. I've talked to plenty of people about it. Nothing you can really do about it.
Right.
I know that pot's 9%.
Right.
How
Versus-
is pot 9%? Cigars are 75%. And when I was a kid, right, 13, 15, 16, 18 years old, if you got caught with a joint or you had some weed on you, you were going to jail. Now, it's legal.
Yep.
I'm in the jewelry store. I had a couple people come in. They were as high as kites. Okay, high as kites. I stood there. I took care of them to my professionalism. Okay. Why do I have to smell that weed? And then I had to spray my store, open the doors. Okay. Why do I have to have that? It's like forced on me.
Right.
But again, it's now legal. I'm an American. I'm doing the best I can every day. Live by the rules.
Yeah.
And what else can you do?
Right.
I mean, if I sit around and cry about it, until it gets to somebody who might be listening to this Castle pod, or really takes a good look at this and comes to Castle Cigars and looks around at the people and what's cultivated and the community that has been built here. All right? Maybe take another look at it and lower it, and then
Yes.
maybe you get more people, maybe you get better tax dollars than the 75. You got to look at the numbers.
Right. 75%
Okay?
tax on a cigar. Oh my God.
Yeah. I was just was golfing today, and a lot of guys always say, "Hey, Rick, how's business?" I go, "It's great. I love it.
Right.
Right? Created it. I love it." And they go, "You pay 75% on that, huh? How do you survive?" I go, "I just keep working harder. I keep working harder. Okay. Nothing you can do about it.
Right.
I wish there was a way, but it's every state has their things.
Right. Yep.
Like I said, the only thing I can hope for is somebody is listening or takes care of it or takes a little more harder look at it.
Right.
Right. And I get it that it might be this and that, but
at least and again, and this is just maybe a very ignorant opinion of mine, but at least separate it from cigarettes because it's not the same thing.
Cigarettes are infused with rat poison. God knows how many chemicals are in that.
Right.
Okay. Now, if you take that cigarette and you throw it out your window into the street, that filter will be there forever.
Yep.
If you're smoking a cigar and you threw it on the street, which you shouldn't anyway, or anything, that goes away because this is all natural tobacco.
Yes.
It's a leaf with tobacco. It goes away.
Yes.
All right. So.
Right. And
it's all natural.
Exactly. That's kind of the point I'm making is, they're two very different things. So why are we taxing them the same? It shouldn't just be a tobacco tax. It should be a cigarette and vape tax because those are the things that are going to really harm people and get people addicted because they have extra addictive chemicals within them that make you want to keep doing it. Yeah. Versus tobacco, it's just tobacco. It's nicotine. Yes, there's more nicotine in a cigar than any cigarette you'll ever smoke. But also, you're not inhaling it.
You're not really inhaling these.
No, you bring it in. And maybe this is a good point for our cigar tip of the day. You don't inhale a cigar.
No.
Go ahead and... How would you smoke a cigar?
Yeah. You enjoy the flavors coming in. And it goes out.
And that's it.
It's very relaxing. That's why people they love cigars. They come in. A lot of people they're doing their work. They can have a cigar while they're doing their work, or they can be in activities if they want. Look at the golf courses.
Yeah.
If I forget my cigars at the golf course, that's a bad day. But thank God I golf a lot with Mario.
Yeah.
So he always has some in his bag. Thank God. But cigars and golf, they go together.
Right.
Cigars and networking, it goes together.
Exactly.
So. Yes. I don't know, but anyway, we'll have to. We'll say I got 5 years coming up this September. I keep hopeful maybe next year.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, someone in the who makes those decisions can look at it.
Right. And final question for you: what or who was the person that believed in you the most when you gave up and lost ambition?
Probably my business partner, Joe. I'd have to say. Because we started that jewelry store back in '96, and we didn't have 2 pennies to rub. We walked in, when we decided to do it, I walked into a 1,200 square foot place in the strip mall with a pallet of rock salt, and it was just a shell. And throughout the years, let's face it, after 30 years now, in business with them. Wow, Harvard education. You can't go to school for this. You have to be hands-on. So when you get a little complacent or you think things are going bad, and you bounce off each other. Right. Partnerships aren't the easiest thing, but you're both going for the same goal, and that's success.
Yes.
Okay, it's success. The internal success, So, did I kind of answer that?
Yeah, So it was your business partner, right?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to the roots, no doubt. Because when I was down and out in 96, 97, when life was really, really bad, and then when that happened, and then the rest of it
just keeps going.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like I said, I am on a schedule. I got this much time to do this, this, and then make sure once you start it, complete it. I'm a great multitasker. I've learned to be. I could be on the phone, I could be doing the payables, I could be looking at this, I could be doing this, and it all gets done. you know. But it's all time management too.
Right.
You know, accountability. Hold yourself accountable. You know, don't let your 8 hours a day of work just slip away.
Right.
You have to accomplish it.
Right.
Because I can remember someone telling me too, actually another buddy of mine, Ray, who now is gone, unfortunately, you know, time management and being accountable to yourself.
Right.
You know, that time. You know, then there was another guy. He was an attorney, and my business partner Joe. He'd love this one too because it's called stick and move. Okay, did I ever tell you that one?
Oh yeah, you've showed me it.
You know, you're talking with somebody, and you don't really want to go away, but you want them to talk. But we're in business, and we have to.
Right.
But you have to stick and move. Like you got to keep moving. You got to take care of this, and then move on. And people will respect that because they know that you're running a business and that you're busy.
Right.
And I try to spread my time with everybody because everybody deserves that time.
Right.
And everybody deserves for me to listen to them. That's where I'm at.
Perfect. And that is going to wrap up our section here. I mean, do you have any big announcements that are coming out? This is probably going to release the end of September. So do you have any big announcements for October?
I know I have a rolling event in October. I know that's going to be coming. So go to the Facebook and make sure you.
Is that going to be with Francisco again?
Yeah, Francisco.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, he's a great. Last time he comes into the shop here, he goes, "Francisco's here." Right? He's been rolling since he's been 13 years old. You got to see the show. It's hilarious. He's the greatest. He keeps everybody intact.
Yes.
He's great. And then November, I'm going to try. I put a bowling machine in here, the old school bowling machine, and I'm going to try to do a turkey bowl on it. And then December, I'm doing a Ashton St. Crystal ball all month long.
Okay.
A sale.
All right.
Those cigars are hot. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That kind of wraps up my year, and then of course Christmas.
Yes.
You know, then I have the jewelry Christmas. Between now and the end of the year, it's going to be full out, but I love it. It's just great. But take your time, fill it up. You start something, finish it. If you can't finish it right away, put on your list and finish it.
Right.
It's that simple.
Yes.
You know,
Hold yourself accountable.
Hold yourself accountability.
Yes.
You know, don't let it. Life is too short. It's precious, people. Precious, precious. I can't get that hard enough out there. You know, don't take your life for granted. Don't take anything for granted. You know, we're here one day, we're gone the next. Enjoy it. Smile, laugh,
Yes.
embrace, go out there. Don't let it slip away.
Right.
But so then we're set here.
Yes.
And then now we have someone here tonight, and we really appreciate that coming in. I know she's started up her own business too,
Yes.
and you reached out to her,
Yes.
Mustafa, because he's a networker, and you know, by the way, I do love coffee, so you know, if I get up early one morning, okay, all right. You're going to put the address in here too and everything, like Castle 2666 Hamburg Street, right? All right. So we're done here.
Yes.
Okay, we're done here.
That's it.
You're going to take her on,
Absolutely.
and I really appreciate her coming. Come on in.
All right.
You're next.
Katryn, welcome to the Cigars of the Castle podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. You do have that laugh.
I have that
laugh is there.
Yep, it's really real. Yep.
All right. So, everybody, this is Katryn. Last name Malen, correct?
Malen.
Malen.
Like I'm mailing you a letter. Well,
right.
usually everybody gets the first name wrong. So you know how to say my first name, so that's all that really matters.
Well, yeah, that's
and
fair.
also I don't care. I've already established that. Like you can call me. It's all good.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. I am Katryn Malen, and I am the owner of Graham's Coffee Parlor.
Perfect. Now, Katryn, the reason I wanted to bring you on today is because you are I would say, younger business owner in this area. I mean, you've been in business for 5 years now, going on 6, coming up this next year, right? You're about to open your second shop.
Just opened.
Just opened.
But it's like soft. Yeah.
Soft opened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Do you have an official date yet?
Well, I mean, we really opened last Friday for business. So by the time you're seeing this, we're open. We're open. We officially opened on September 6th, soft opening. And now we're just like amping up our hours, getting more hours.
Right.
And, figuring it all out.
Yes.
Yeah.
How has it been so far?
So the new space has been absolutely incredible. The new space, we have the one location in Niskayuna near Mohawk Commons, which a lot of people know about already. We've built a really amazing community there, and a lot of the people that have found out, we're opening this new location, we're so excited to go to the other one, which is located in the Stockade district of Schenectady, which is near downtown. If you don't know, it's like a super historic neighborhood. And it's inside of the Stockade Inn Hotel, which is just so rich in history and a huge reason why I chose that as my second location. And it's been going amazing because the community has been extremely welcoming to me. And a lot of my customers live down there and would drive to the other Grams. Oddly enough, so many people put it in GPS and said, like, it's literally equidistant. They're like, I can go to either one and it takes the same exact amount of time. And I'm like, well, whatever your vibe is of the day, you can go to either one. Or I think it's mostly like, do you have to go to Target or not? I think that's probably what's happening. But so far it's been amazing. Our first weekend opening was absolutely incredible. If I could put sparkle, it was very sparkly and it was beautiful energy and everybody was so welcoming and I couldn't have asked for it to go any better.
No. And just the amount of work that I've seen you do in the 3 or 4 years that I've been coming to the original Grams there, I can really tell how much you put into this thing, and it shows every single time I go in there. There's either something new on the wall, there's something new in the store, there's, just more people. In general, there's a lot of people coming in there. How do you kind of deal with that amount of traffic, when it's really, really busy?
Well, I gained my experience in New York City in coffee. And really, I just fell into the job. I moved to New York City when I was 21 with rent and $250 and was like, well, sure, I'll move in with my friend because the other girl's moving out and let's see how this goes. And it was close enough to home that I didn't mind. So when I was living in New York City, I fell into a part-time gig at a coffee shop. And oddly enough, that coffee shop now has, I think I just looked it up, I might not be right about this, but maybe 38 locations around New York City and New Jersey, some in Washington, D.C. I think they just opened one in Philadelphia. But when I started, there was only one location. And I started at that location, and soon thereafter, they opened their second location. And I was like, I think I like this. Maybe I'll work here full time. And then I ended up immediately becoming the manager of the first location. And so the traffic there, you're talking, this was 23rd Street and Park Avenue. I was 22. And by the time I became a manager, and I had a line of 40 people out the door, 9 baristas on at a time. So to me, when it's really busy, I'm like, let's go. I love it. I love looking at a well-oiled machine, looking at the systems that I've put in place and using my experience to be able to handle that is just it's beautiful to me.
Now, do you think being in that environment where it was a little more fast-paced and kind of seeing that at first glance helped you build what you have today?
Absolutely. Because I personally wanted an upbeat coffee shop. I wanted an energetic vibe. And other coffee shops aren't like that, and that's fine. I want to go to a coffee shop sometimes that has a chill vibe. But Grams is an upbeat vibe because I'm an upbeat person. Obviously. So I'm literally sitting here like this. So
I kept seeing you out of the corner of my eye when Rick and I were talking. Just dun, 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 dun.
I No. So basically, I decided, that's the kind of place that I wanted to have. So it was easy for me to keep that.
Right. Where do you kind of see this going? Do you see yourself moving this forward and opening more and more across the country? Or is this like, hey, let's start here and see where we're at in 2 or 3 years?
I do not see myself, but I also never saw myself opening a second location, to be honest.
Right.
So right now I don't see myself opening more than this. Because to me, there's something so special about small business and the personal connections that I have with my community.
Yes.
And that's where my heart is driven. So, expanding, sure, creating this space for Grams everywhere. Okay, I wish I could do that.
Right.
But I also care so much about sharing those genuine connections.
Yes.
That I don't see myself having more than 2.
Okay. And you absolutely do share genuine connections with everybody that's there. I mean, when I was living in this area, every single day I would show up at Graham's, I would walk in line. My order would already be basically placed for me when I walked up there because I was a daily
We also
customer.
have a very easy order.
Well, I mean, a black cold brew is a little more difficult than you would think. You got to pour the coffee, you got to put ice in there. It's a whole thing.
And a lid.
See?
Don't forget the lid.
See, I would have been out of job already.
Right.
But, I mean, how often is it that you see a lot of these repeat customers and you really build those interpersonal relationships? Do you go for that? Is that what you're really aiming for?
Oh, yeah. My number one thing. I mean, the thing about a coffee shop that's so amazing is you become part of someone's routine.
Right.
I know that I literally wrote in like my first article in a paper, and I dreamed about this in the 3 years of building Grams. I said, I just want to create a space that the people in this community, especially in the weird location that First Grams is in.
Yeah.
It's a very strange location, but I thought nothing's around here, and I literally can't be the only person that likes coffee that's right here. That's crazy. And I thought, if somebody comes in here, I'm going to do everything I can do to give them amazing service and an amazing product so they want to come back. And that the dream is that they might get up a little bit earlier to get the coffee that they want to set themselves up for the day. Because that's what I would do. I would go get my coffee, drive out of my way to go get the coffee that I wanted before I would go work all day. And that set my day up.
Right.
And I said that and was quoted in an article. And then I had people start coming in. I started having people come in and say, I get up earlier to come here and it sets me up for my day.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that's really wild you're saying that, because building this place, that's what I dreamed of. And now I'm having people say that to me. And it's amazing.
Yes. And I can honestly say, just from me to you, every single day I walked in there and got that coffee, it did make my day a little bit better. It was absolutely wonderful. And thank you so much for building what you built and really putting your heart and soul into the place and not letting it drift away from you and not giving up on it, where I'm sure there's been very tough days in there, but every day that I saw you in there, you were busting your hump. You were getting out there, you grabbing ice out of the chest in the basement, bringing it upstairs. I saw you lugging coolers of ice one time to make some of the new drinks that you had. I think if you visited
Grams, you've seen me do something wild you never thought you would see me do before.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like coffee in a show. Who knows what she's doing?
It's like, I'll just sit back. No, let me just watch today.
Right.
No, but again, thank you, seriously. And the first location is at 3406 State Street in Niskayuna, New York. Don't want to confuse that with Schenectady.
Well, yeah. Well, a third of the parking lot is in Schenectady, so it depends on where you park. But the physical location of Grams is in Niskayuna.
Okay. And the second location, what is the address?
So it's 1 North Church Street in Schenectady, New York. 12305, and it's located inside of the historic Stockade Inn, which is a hotel, a boutique hotel.
Is it still a real hotel?
It is actually a hotel.
Really? Okay. Now, can only hotel guests get coffee there?
Oh no, it's open to the public.
Okay.
We just built a ramp so it's handicap accessible to go right into Grams. So in the back parking lot, that's where my space is located. You can just come inside. Anybody can come in, and also the front door to the hotel is open during business hours, so you can come in through the front of the hotel or the back of the hotel and go to Grams.
Did you have a reason for setting the hours that you did?
The hours at the first location?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
They've changed a lot over the years.
Yes.
When I first opened, I was open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 on Saturday, and 9 to 4 on Sunday. Because I worked really hard to open it, and I really wanted to be available so that I could get my name out there. So I worked that hard to open. And to be fair, it was so slow. Sometimes I'd be in there, when I first opened, and I'd have like a customer, and then I wouldn't have a customer, and I'd say, okay. But I'm open because I didn't want people to see my business and say, oh, I go there and they're always closed. So I was always open.
Right. How tough was it to deal with your first negative critic?
My first negative critic.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, I don't remember. So I guess that's good.
Right.
That whoever that was, I don't remember. But I've been in customer service for so long that, I'm not going to say it's ever easy to deal with that, but also, I'm not going to please everyone. And sometimes in customer service, people expect the coffee shop to be the coffee shop of their dreams.
Right.
And that's okay, but this is the coffee shop of my dreams.
Exactly.
So, and I'm going to make mistakes. My staff is going to make mistakes sometimes, and that's okay. And you know what? Sometimes the criticism helps because it makes you, maybe you don't agree with them, but it makes you think about things in a different way that opens up an avenue for you that maybe you didn't think about it that way before, and then you can make a change to make something better.
That is a really key mindset that you have there, though. Looking at negative criticism as a way to improve and looking at it through a different lens. Now, have you always had that, or is that something that was built over time through these customer service roles?
I definitely didn't always have that.
Okay.
But I don't think anybody's born being able to handle criticism that well. But I've improved so much, and it's been one of the most humbling experiences of owning a business and just being a human in general, knowing that it's okay for people to be honest with you, and because we're human, and then you learn from that, and the experience is what helps you. So I was very grateful for the experience that I had in customer service before I opened, and I don't think I realized how important that was until a few years into Grams. That I thought, wow, I'm so grateful that I had some of this already under my belt. I cannot imagine if I was doing something completely different my whole life. I started working in food service when I was 16. And for the most part, that's all I did. I've dishwashed, I've worked on a food truck, I've been a server, I've been a bartender. I'm not going to say I've literally done everything, but I've done a lot of it. Because I definitely haven't done everything. I haven't been on a saute cook, but I've definitely helped prep. If there's something to do to help things move forward in a business, I will do it.
No, you're very business savvy, and I love that as well. So let's get into some of these questions and some of the topics today. What was your process to get started with Grams? What was your process like? Did you have to, I know again, you spoke about working 3 jobs and doing all of these other things, but did you have to take a loan out? What was that feeling like the first time you did that? Give me some of the insight there.
So when I tried to apply for a business loan, that was a, big eye opener when you go to the bank and they're like, cool, so your business hasn't been in business yet, so we can't give you a business loan. And I was like, sweet. Okay, now what? So for me, I just like created my own loan by sacrificing a lot by, like I moved out of my house when I was 18. I moved back into my mom's basement at 28, I think, to do this. And I said, okay, I will just work and save a lot of money to do this. And that's what I did. That's what that process was like financially for me. Of course, I took out a couple like personal loans. But for the most part, and I wouldn't take it back because I had to work so hard to have that money to do that, that I'm like, there is no other option. I had to work so hard to do that, that it really taught me the value. I mean, I already knew the value of money.
Yeah.
You don't really know the value of money until you've done that.
Until you're working the graveyard shift and you have another shift at 6 a.m. as soon as this one ends.
Right.
Yeah, I've been there. I know that. But, I mean, what kind of motivated you throughout some of your darkest times when you were working those 3 jobs? Like, did you just always have this vision? Did you draw anything out? Did you have, like, a list? Did you have some, like, did you use imagery? Or, like, how'd you get through it?
So I feel like once I decided, I knew that I wanted to open Graham's, which I didn't know what the name was going to be for a while, but I knew that I wanted to open a coffee shop. And I knew where it was going to be because I decided it was going to be in my family's building and that I was just going to flip that and I was going to do it. So once I knew what my vision was, it was easy to go to work. And I even said, I worked at multiple places, and my rule was, if you call me in, give me an hour before your shift, as long as it's an hour. My personal rule was, I'm going, because there's nothing more important than me making money to follow my dream. And so going to work was easy because I knew there was a reason I was going to work.
Okay. Now, did you were in the building during that time doing repairs and making changes while you were also working these jobs? Okay, so you had like a physical presence there still, so you could physically see like, hey, tomorrow I do the rugs, tomorrow I do this, tomorrow I do this. Walk us through the process of actually setting up Graham's from start to finish.
Okay, I'm going to make this the quickest thing. But to give you an idea of what my life was like during that time. So if I worked like a double at the restaurant, I would come home and I would say, like, my rule was I have to do one thing every single day for Graham. So if I knew I was working like a really tough day, a long day, I would choose to do something fun. Oh, let's pick out what lights you're going to have. And we're going to decide that today. Okay. Let's pick out just something fun, something cute. But on days that I had off or I only worked one shift instead of a double, I would say, okay, I start with the stuff that's more challenging to me that I don't really like as much. And then I finish it off with the fun stuff. Okay. So then you go through your list and you get it done. You just have to keep chipping away. Right. So I would do that. But then when we started physically doing stuff over there, like demoing, emptying the whole place out, ripping the walls apart, 3 dumpsters I had to empty that place. And my friends helped me, you know, they came and helped me. But ripping that whole place apart, that was easy and it felt good because I'm physically doing something to do this. Right. So I would say, okay, before I go to work today, I'm going to go take down that ceiling and all the nails in that ceiling. There was one point where I thought I got really good at it and I'm like, I got this. And I was on the final one. I'm like, this last ceiling is going to take me 45 minutes. But it was the old kitchen of the, I've learned a lot about construction. It was the old kitchen of the apartment that was in the back of Graham's. So when you're sitting on the couch, that used to be the kitchen. Right. And then the ceiling had 2 layers of drywall, as it often does for fire protection. Yeah. And also, my family decided, because they were the ones who kept repairing this place, that they would put like 3 different types of screws in the ceiling. So everything else was nails. So I'm like I'm like coming up roses, ripping everything out, no problem. And then I get to this and I have to use 3 different drill bits. I have no idea how to use it. I had no idea how to use a screw, like a screw gun, a drill, whatever, before I started Grams. I was on the ceiling I was on a ladder with a Sawzall that was like really heavy and old that I was using all my uncle's like old tools. And I'm on a ladder and I'm sawing the ceiling. And then I just like took a deep breath and was like, you know what? I think this is very unsafe, and I am alone. And I know you wanted to get it done, but I think you need to stop. You know, so that's just like a little example. But when I was doing drywall and hanging all that stuff up, that was a really intense time because my uncle taught me how to use a drill.
Right.
Taught me how to cut the drywall. And I was like, cool. The only thing I didn't do is tape because I was really bad at it. I'm too much of a perfectionist. Anybody who's ever done it, God bless you for taping. Yeah. But I mudded everything. And building those walls was so cathartic, and taking the time to be alone and think like, I'm doing this. There's a purpose here. The people that are going to come here are going to be amazing, and I'm going to build this, and there's a reason I'm doing it. I used to sit and take naps on the floor, sit there crisscross applesauce on the floor, put my head down for 5 minutes, get back up and do it again. I said, because you have until 10:30 p.m. to do this. Right. You know, you got from 7 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. to do it. But take a little nap and get up and keep going.
There it is. That's one hell of a spirit. And I mean, now, where does the name, and you mentioned this earlier, where does the name Grams come from?
So it's my family's last name. It's not my last name, but it's my mom's side.
Okay.
And my family ran a business out of that building for like 40 years. So it only seemed right to pay homage to their name and keep it. And also, I like for a business when it's easy to say by word of mouth.
Right.
Grams. Not only, a lot of people think that it's like grandma, which is also cool because like my grandma, she just passed away, I don't know, a year and a half ago. She was 99. Like, she's good. She lived a very good life. She was ready.
She did it all.
She was ready. But she, you know, that's my grandma Gram. And so that everyone's like, oh, I thought it was like grandma. And that's cool. And the name Gram associates a person. Right. You think of it's like we're talking about a person here. So that's where the name comes from. And I didn't just want to say coffee shop, you know, but the word parlor means specializing in something. So you have like barber parlors, ice cream parlors, coffee parlor. It's a place that specializes in something.
Right, right. That's beautiful. And also, I mean, I guess I'm just fat because I thought grams. I was like, oh, graham crackers, like s'mores. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, but see, it still makes you happy. It's such a good. We have played on the word gram so many times.
Oh my God, and that brings up another great question. Have you ever experimented with your menu, and what are some of the most creative drinks that you've made?
Okay, so anybody who is watching this podcast and is a super OG knows that we've been on a long journey here in the past 5 years, and I've tried some pretty crazy things. But when I first opened, a wild drink that we had was called Ruthie's Cooler, after my grandma Ruth, because she used to take Dole pineapple juice and V8 tomato juice and mix it. And so I made something called Ruthie's Cooler, which I made my own vegetable juice from scratch at Grams, and fresh pineapple juice, and mixed it. Now, the few people that actually tried it loved it. There were very few. I was drinking the vegetable juice every day, and it was really good. But it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and so it didn't make the final cut. I did bring it back for the first for the first Gramiversary, which is what we call our anniversary every year. And my staff was really what?
I love the koozie that I got.
Oh, I went to the Gramiversary,
and all I got was this koozie.
It was so funny. But we brought back Ruthie's Cooler for that, and a couple other ones that were like on the back burner in my mind of what I wanted when I opened. Like there was like a frozen watermelon slushie that I called like Cosmic Thing after the B-52s. but we brought it back and my staff was really excited to try it. And they were like, this is very interesting, Katryn. But the few people that tried it when I first opened came back and they were like, oh, we love this. But we've had some really fun drinks. You know, the malted milk latte is everybody's favorite in January. The healing potion is coming back. My Halloween drink. And you know, it doesn't stop.
No, and it shouldn't, because that's how you keep growing in your business and you keep evolving it.
Right.
I mean, seeing the happy customer faces, interacting with people every day, are those the things that really push you forward, or is there something else there? Like, what else is kind of keeping you going?
It's absolutely the customers. Like days that I have to just be in the office, I definitely feel like disconnected from my business because I'm in QuickBooks or editing a menu online, doing things like that. And just Grams has the funniest way. It always has had this most special way. If I'm having a difficult day, I come downstairs, the right person walks in the door, shares a story with me, and it's the exact story I needed to hear to get me right back where I needed to be and say, this is why I do this.
Yes.
This special connection, you know, over 5 years of knowing so many people so well, they're sharing things with me about their life, and they come in and they share things, and I am floored by how touching it is that they're sharing it with me and that they come to my space, and this space is there to provide them some comfort, and I know that that's what my staff feels too, you know. Yes. They're in a world with so much technology, and especially like I hire a lot of young people, and they get to experience this genuine connection with people that's irreplaceable.
Yes. Now, where do you come up with some of these ideas for your Instagram? Speaking of technology, I mean, the Instagram videos, if you haven't seen them, I'm going to put those up, and they're going to be showing right here on the screen. These are some of the greatest videos I've ever seen. And you shoot and produce all these yourself.
Right.
Now, do you edit everything yourself as well?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Now, walk me through a couple of these ideas. How did you come up with some of them? Like, specifically the most recent one, I think you guys were dancing in the new...
Staying Alive?
Yes. Like, did you have like a choreographed session? Like, all right, this is what we're going to do. You guys set this up? Okay.
My staff was very kind. They were very kind and said, yes, we'll do it for you, because then, you know, you'll just be by yourself.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not trying to dance to Staying Alive by myself, you know. But, you know, we always have that like flair of like throwback and nostalgia. So that's why a lot of the music that I choose is always, you know, you're supposed to choose like trending audio. And I'm like, I want to go against the grain of what feels right. And a lot of these nostalgic songs sound funny. So when we did a little video doing Staying Alive, and I said, don't worry, girls, like I'll edit it. Like we don't have to be perfect. And we had a really good time. We watched a funny little tutorial video and we got it together. It was like they were fixing the air conditioner inside of, and these girls worked all day, then met me at the stockade to do it. So I'm like, we'll do it as fast as possible. I'm like, and 5, 6, 7, 8, you know, like I'm getting them to, Paige was a dancer forever, so like she's like no problem. And Ella was like a very good sport. So these guys are fixing the air conditioner, and we're, you know, anybody who's ever made a video, there's something always going on that makes it. And I'm like, just get through it. Just put your fingers up in the air. We're doing it. We're staying alive. And it was just super fun. And I just like think that like it's fun, and it's a way to share with your audience that this is like the feeling that we're trying to emote.
Yes. And you do an absolutely amazing job at it. I think you're one of the best in this area. I'm going to say you're the best in this area at what you do. I mean, your Instagram compared to every other Instagram or Facebook page that I've seen for businesses, and I unfortunately speak to a lot of businesses in this area. Fortunately, unfortunately, you guys are number one. You guys always inspire me to get on there. Like when I turn on my Instagram, if I'm feeling a little low and I don't really want to edit for the podcast, or I don't want to put anything up for the business, I watch one of your videos and I'm like, all right, I got to do something here. Come on. She's killing it out here. She's got matching words. She's got everything going on across the screen. Everything is perfect. Like, just.
It takes time.
Oh, I believe you.
But you know why I'm good at that?
Go ahead.
Because my mom worked in production. So my mom was a makeup artist.
Okay.
So she was a makeup artist, but then she was also like a single mom that did everything. So she couldn't say no to any type of money that was
Right.
coming in. So and I would go on jobs with her sometimes, and we would be watching TV, and she'd say, "Why is that not perfect? Why is this not perfect?" She did product photography, was doing wardrobing, all these things to make things look picture perfect. So that has been a blessing that I grew up understanding a lot of those things. And my dad was a photographer. So, and he was a hairdresser. So all these things it's a very like creative atmosphere that I grew up in that really helped. And I'm a musician. My parents were musicians, so I'm so connected to the music. And that really adds like a certain vibe. And that's why Grams is such a creative space. And people who like to create like to go there, but that's because I know all those little details help add to the whole vibe.
Right. Now, you're a musician. What do you play?
My main instrument is cello.
Okay. What started that? Like, was it just high school, you saw this one, you were like, I like that one? Or like, what kept you away from the other ones?
Well, my mom played violin.
Okay.
My dad played upright bass. And we had a cello. So we
had a cello.
We had a cello.
That
so
was my role.
It wasn't my number one choice, but back when I was in 4th grade and we were deciding what instruments you play, like I first wanted to play my first instrument I want to play was a harp. That was gold and studded with diamonds. And my mom said, "Well, you're not going to play harp." And I said, okay. All right. First dream shot down.
Fine.
Thanks.
All right.
And then I think I wanted to play, I don't remember. I think there was another instrument in there, like maybe flute for some reason. And she said no, because she was they were string instrument people.
Right.
And also she could help me play the other things. So, so we had the cello and I went with cello, but in 4th grade, the Titanic had just come out. So how they tricked you into wanting to play the instruments that people didn't want to play is they played My Heart Will Go On the other instruments and said, if you play the cello, you can play My Heart Will Go On, as if you couldn't play it on the other instruments. They were so sneaky. So I was like, look, Mom, if I play the cello, I can play My Heart Will Go On. And she's like, yes, you can.
Oh, there was definitely some
They trick
scheming
people.
there.
Yeah, they trick people into playing the stand-up bass with that one. Yeah. Their parents were like, wow, this is a really easy instrument to lug around.
Sure, yeah.
You could have picked the violin that was a lot smaller. Yeah.
Trying to go down this.
We're going to go down this list.
Let's see what we got. All right, let's go into some of the questions that we got from online.
Okay.
Can you tell someone's personality by their order?
No.
No, that's a
No.
myth.
That's a myth.
Okay.
That's absolutely a myth.
What advice can you give to a young entrepreneur that wants to expand their business?
A young entrepreneur that wants to expand their business, I would say definitely know what you're passionate about and makes you happy, and really come up with a plan to achieve that, but be realistic about your goals. And as long as you're passionate and you really believe in it and you have a plan, you can make it work.
So when you say a plan, let's dive a little bit deeper into this. What does a business plan look like? I mean, you can Google it, right? But like, if you were to give advice to a new entrepreneur, someone who's just starting, what would you say their first business plan should look like? Because obviously it's not their last one, right? Just what is their rough draft?
I'd say, I mean, for me, the only business I've ever opened is a coffee shop. But I really, thought about who am I selling to? And then how do I sell to them?
Right.
And what makes them want to buy it from me? And if you think about the psychology of your targeted audience, and because you can't just say, oh, well, this will work because of this, because I think that way and I would want that. Okay, all right, that's what you want.
Right.
But what do they want? And really And like ask around, ask people, you know, and that's a tough thing when you're trying to expand your business because people really want to tell you what they think.
Yes.
And it can hurt sometimes because it might not be what you think. But people who open businesses, or I should just speak for myself, when my mind is set on something and someone suggests something, it feels one way that day and it feels completely different the next day. So for me, I've learned to say like, oh, that's interesting. And then I think about it the next day because I've already kind of decided how I feel about that.
Right.
And then the next day I might be like, you know what? That really wasn't a bad idea. Let me think about that. And then it morphs it into a better idea than you've ever had before. Because you can really get in your head thinking about what people want. So tread lightly on that and be kind to yourself that you don't know everything. And that's the number one thing that you don't know. Like number one, top of the list. You don't know what you don't know, and that's fine because no one knows everything.
Right. And you should feel comfortable asking questions, right? Don't feel like you're supposed to know because you own X, Y, or Z, or because you're from this family, or because you were this or that.
I mean, I had so much experience in coffee in New York City, and I absolutely would have benefited from asking more questions before I opened my business. Absolutely. But just like anything, you got to learn the way you're supposed to learn.
That's it. Yes. You can never you can always over prepare, right? But unless you actually get your feet out there and start, you're never going to start. And that was a struggle that I had myself, again, before starting Wave.mp, before starting this voice acting career, before I got into the first real estate property that I purchased. I kept reading and being like, oh, well, I can write this down, and I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do, well, if I tweak this, and if I find this perfect, it's never going to be perfect, right?
Never going to be perfect.
So based off of what you said here, who's your target audience? What makes them want to come to you and come back to you? And why are they coming there in the first place?
So the really cool thing about Grams is my target audience is pretty much everybody.
Yes. Yes, it is.
That is the coolest thing about Grams is that you'll have an elderly couple having a cappuccino and a little scone that they split up. You'll have a group of cops in the back. You'll have a graphic designer working. You're having a business meeting of real estate agents. You have college students, teenagers, moms. Literally everybody comes to Grams. So that's a cool thing about a coffee shop.
Yes.
But the target audience, when I was building it, is just really kind people that are thinking the same way as me. They just wanted to be nice to other people, and they want people to be nice to them.
That's the easiest network you've ever built.
And then nice
and
people like you come in.
You have done an absolutely phenomenal job at that, because every time I've gone in there, it's always felt like a very warm environment. Like anybody in there is not going to give you an attitude. They're not going to have a grimace on their face. I mean, they might before they have the coffee, and then they drink the coffee and they're better. But, everyone in there is very happy. And that is such a tough culture to really cultivate. And I'm really impressed by what you've done there. And I would love to maybe in 5-10 years sit down with you and have you write your book, and I'll read over your book and see what's going on with that, because you've really kind of hit it on the head with everything that you've wanted to do has now come true. I don't know if I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there's always more, right? In the entrepreneur brain, you can never stop running. But do you feel like so far you've reached the goals that you set 5 years ago?
Well, the funny thing is, sure. Because my goal was just to be open. That was literally my goal. I said, all right, I'm just going to work as hard as I can. Yeah. And this is going to work out. So talking to me about a business plan, sure, I wrote a business plan. With opening the second location, there were a lot more logistics to make sure that I could do this. Right. A lot more spreadsheets that were not in anything I wrote in my original business plan. You know what? I should really look at that and laugh. But my goal was just this was for me. I don't recommend this for a lot of people because, I mean, you have to go with what you're good at. For me, talking to people is something that drives me, and listening to people and connecting with them. So I knew that I could create that environment because I have that
Yes.
thing. And so I built my business off of my personality. And so when it comes to if I've achieved what I wanted in 5 years, yes, because my business is successful and I continue to make the necessary changes with time to stay true to why I originally opened it. So success to me is more peace that I'm doing what I'm doing because of my passion.
Right. And you said something very wise earlier off the podcast here. You said, if you're in it for just money, you're going to end up sad.
I mean,
You said it a lot more eloquently than that, but
I just think that there's a cap to doing something just for money. And, you know, how many people have said it before? You're not going to be on your deathbed and say, I'm so happy that I sacrificed everything in my entire life just to make money. And because at the end of the day, the only place you live is in your mind.
right.
And take care of that because that's where you live every day.
Yes.
And the money is not the thing that makes you, sure, you need money to have your needs met,
Right.
to live in this society, sure. But if
Once
there
you get
isn't
past that,
passion and you're not following your heart, then
Exactly. Right. And that's something that Rick and I have spoken about before on the podcast is, yeah, you can have millions of dollars, right? You can have the boat, you can have the house. Okay, is that all your life is? Is that who you are as a person? You're just the guy with the big house and the boat, and that's all you do? That's your life? Congratulations.
well, if it makes you happy,
Right. I mean, obviously, right, having those
Right.
things is great, but
Right.
if that's all your goal is, that's all your aim is in life, just to have these things, these material things that eventually will all turn to rubble and dust at the end of time, I mean, don't you want to have promoted a little bit something more? Brought people together like you're doing phenomenally, by the way. You are bringing people together. You're letting people network. You're bringing a smile to their faces every time that they take a sip of your coffee or one of these other crazy drinks that are out there on the menu. I haven't ventured too far from coffee, but I'm sure when I come back around here every now and then, I will pick up something, whether it be one of your October potions. We'll see.
many potions to come.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, let's wrap up here. We have a couple more questions. If you could have a coffee with any person in human history, who would it be and why?
A coffee with any person in human history and why?
Yes.
Wow. That's a really big question for me. I'm not necessarily someone who like idolizes people. So, you know what? You know who I would have a cup of coffee with?
Who's that?
My grandfather.
There it is.
Because, I mean, he's definitely in grams for sure, in spirit. He's saved me from a lot of things there, and I know it, but
Yes.
I would love for him to know the opportunity that he gave me having that building and the business that he ran out of it and what that means to me and the opportunity that it gave me. And he also really liked coffee. So
Right. It's beautiful. And that's, I mean, that's so similar to, I've asked this question to many different people who've come on the podcast, and it's always family. It's always just having that one last connection with somebody that was important to you in your life. And I don't know if there's a common psychology there. I'm sure there's papers written on this somewhere. But family to you, what does family mean to you?
family to me, I have a very small family, but I have I'm very fortunate that my very small family is very honest and true. And I grew up in a family that, like anyone's, is not perfect. But everyone did their best, and we have each other's back no matter what.
Right.
And they're people that you can rely on. And it doesn't matter how tired you are, what's going on. You call me, I'm there, and you can rely on these people. And when life gets difficult, and you're fortunate enough to have family, and even if it's your chosen family, right? Because that's valid. I definitely have people that are my chosen family.
Right.
And these are people that I know I don't have to talk to often.
Right.
But I can call them and they'll do it. They'll help me.
Yes.
They'll get me through something. They'll pick me up from somewhere. I don't know. But and the same goes. So to have those people that you can trust forever
Yes.
is everything.
That is a beautiful way to wrap this up. I love that. Make the people cry at home while they're just like, wait, no, stop. That was good. That was beautiful.
For once, I didn't cry. I almost did like 3 times.
I'm tearing up here. I'm starting to feel
Maybe
a
it's
bit.
one of my goals.
That's good.
It's okay.
Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day. A lot of time out of your day. Honestly, you've been here since 6:40. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy person, and thank you so much for joining us here and really just giving some more information to people who are desperately searching for it out there.
Yeah.
And giving people a place that they can feel really loved in your coffee shops.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. And honestly, it was incredible being here. And obviously, your spirit is so genuine, and it always has been every time you come to Graham. So, of course, I said yes. No matter how busy I was, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it for him. And listening to Rick talk today, for all the people that like watch this podcast and listen to Rick, he had me tearing up like 75 times before we even started. And I'm like, well, good thing he's not talking here because you would see me bawling. And he's so inspirational.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it was absolutely a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
How'd it go tonight?
Amazing.
Good. I love coffee. And I will be there one morning. I don't know what morning.
Okay.
So, Madam K.
Yes.
Madam K.
Madam K, love it.
Thank you.
Perfect.
I'm gonna do a power now.